What is it like for you, Sally, to see Noah enjoying the success of The Pit after you worked with him as a younger doctor on ER?
I wasn't a doctor. He was a younger doctor.
He was the younger doctor.
I was a severely damaged mental person.
And I loved her daughter. Was willing to put up with it.
Oh my God. So what was your question?
What has it been like for you to see the success of The Pit?
I always knew he was that good, but I had never seen him get to be able to do what he does. And so I've been cheering the whole time. Mostly I've just been absorbed like everybody else in America, not being able to look away, like, holy mother of God, this is going on. Do you feel the success of it? Do you feel that we're all talking about it the next day?
I feel incredible resonance with people in a different way than anything else I've done before, because it's more than just like, I enjoy your show. It's my mother died last year, or my cousin had a fentanyl overdose, or the stories are really connecting on a very emotional and heartfelt way. So the people's reaction has been rather intense and beautiful as a result. So I feel that. I feel the gravitas of the work that we're doing, and more than just an entertaining way.
When we worked together on ER and I played someone with bipolarism, do you know that people stopped me on the street afterward in tears saying, my mother has bipolar or manic depressive, or I am, or thank you so much for showing us what this is and explaining it, because at that point it really was not diagnosed very much. And
yes, feeling like I'm triangulating the mental health issue from something somebody might be feeling to some resource that they might need, watching this show and seeing behavior in my character that is familiar has been really gratifying to hear people reach out. Yeah, it's heavy and beautiful.
Yeah.
Noah, what do you remember about first meeting Sally on the set of ER?
Just knowing that, just pace yourself, Noah. Don't turn her off with too many questions right off the bat. When I say that there's a few performers that I can say have been attendants to my entire life, and I can only count them on like one hand, and Sally is one of them. I literally, I remember seeing, I'm trying to think what would be, maybe Sybil would be the first thing I ever saw you do, but I would have been super young, and that made a huge impact on me when I did see it. It was like seeing The Miracle Worker for the first time, I think, for the people that didn't know that. I was like, that is serious acting. And then, like I said, I don't know if you've ever seen Murphy's Romance or Kiss Me Goodbye, but they're the two of the most charming romantic comedies you could ever make. Your chemistry with Jeff Bridges and with James Garner in those films is so lovely, and with James Caan, so beautiful. And then, like I said, it's positive, negative, it's comedy, it's tragedy, and sometimes within the same movie, and sometimes within the same scene, and sometimes within the same sentence. And that's where I learned what I call shifting gears. Like, if she could do that, internal shifting and mechanisms, I got to learn that. I got to learn that quickly. And unlike Jeff Bridges, who, when I worked with Jeff, I said, Jeff, I've studied you for years. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, you do this thing where your face is paralyzed at the end of the movie.
You know what he did. Yeah.
He put Novocaine in his face. But I didn't know that, so I spent years in front of the mirror practicing how to make my face paralyzed.
I think about that a lot.
And I was like, how did you do it? Like this, Jeff? He goes, no, I shot Novocaine in my face. Like, idiot.
Is that insane?
It's insane. It's insane.
I mean, he could have hurt himself badly, but then that's Jeff.
I don't know what's more insane, him doing that or the fact that I practiced it for years.
That's kind of insane, too, I have to say.
Yeah, so if I ever get my subdermal hematoma, I'm going to do it the right way.
Spoken like a true doctor. Sally, during your conversation, you spoke about the difficulty in finding dynamic roles for women.
They're still very hard for women to find good roles. It just is. And even if there might be a leading role, let's take a look at it. It isn't necessarily a three-dimensional character. They're very hard to find for women, always have been. And as you get older, they don't get easier. So
I read today that you turned down a role in the First Wives Club because you didn't like the plot line. You thought that there was more for women to do. Can you speak about that a bit?
First Wives Club? I've turned down several very sensitive roles. I believe it or not, if you remember the movie Romancing the Stone.
Kathleen Turner's part.
Yeah, and the truth is, I was right. I could never have been better than what Kathleen did. Never. I just wasn't that person. I could pull off my version of it. I could not have been better than Diane Keaton. First of all, I don't sing. They would have been singing and dancing. I go, la, 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 la. You know, it wouldn't have worked. So I was right.
That interests me. So a challenge like singing would keep you from taking the part, but like doing stand-up comedy, that was not something you probably had done before Punchline, or training horses in Murphy's Romance. Like these are skills you acquire for these roles.
But I was never good at stand-up. Let's just say this. Tom, on the other hand, Hanks,
thought you all were great.
was dazzlingly good at it. Always was. He'd performed in clubs before when he was an unknown kind of. And
clear.
we went and did this, if you can believe it, to like get a feel for it. I went and did stand up in some club. It was a really eye-opening experience for me.
Larry Moss had an exercise: go home, write 3 minutes of stand-up comedy material, come in and perform it. I remember I came through, did all my jokes, and was like 2 minutes and 46 seconds left on the clock. Like, what the hell am I going to do now?
I know.
You feel so naked.
I know. Really, really hard. So, don't you know when something?
I get scared. I think, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. And that's when I get angry at myself. Why would you say that about yourself? Why would you say you couldn't do it? What is it about that it scares you? And then I take another look at it, and I think there's usually something embedded in this fear that is a life lesson I really am grappling with in my own life, or that I want to explore in my work. I've scared myself away from jobs that I should have taken, but the ones that I've taken have always been the biggest building blocks.
Yeah, so you were right.
Yeah, to lean
You're
out of
right.
your comfort zone, which is so uncomfortable to do, but so necessary.
Well, it's
for
also
your
knowing.
growth.
I mean, like for instance, Moonstruck was another one for me. I'm not a big New York Italian person.
That's a cultural
I could have
shift,
done my
yes.
version of it, but it would have been a little weird.
But I'd cast you in a Neil Simon play in a second.
Thank you. I'll do it.
Well, when are you going to cast Sally?
As soon as
Yeah,
I
I keep
can. As
saying
soon
it.
as I can. Well,
When are
we're
you
gonna
writing
do-
a part for her?
Oh, where's this old woman part? I've been
Tomorrow,
hearing
I'm
so
going to
much
work
about.
tomorrow, Monday. Monday, I'm going to come in and cry and pitch it. Whether it's the pit or something else, though, I can't wait to work with you again. I really can't.
Yeah, me too. You. But just don't cry. I don't want you crying in any of it because I can't do that. You cry. I don't want to cry.
Okay. Fair enough.
You heard it here first. We will see Sally Field on the
Making
pit.
Noah Wiley cry in some
Noah
form,
Wiley cry,
somewhere.
exactly. Truly. Your story about leaving ER to be with your son, it resonated with me.
It was real.
I spent my
mean,
whole life doing that. Spent my whole life having to like leave and go to work
I'm sure.
all over locations. And my
Were your
mother-
children portable in the beginning? Did you bring them
No,
with you?
because I didn't have enough money. In those days, nobody paid for that. I barely even got paid myself. Yeah, my mom would stay, and they would, I think, visit for a week. But it broke my heart. Broke my heart. I'm convinced they are still angry at me, and I would say, Peter, do you forgive me? And he'd go, for what? What are you talking about? Right. So they lived.
Thank you both so much.
Sure.
Entirely my
Thank you.
pleasure.
So nice to see you again.